But the other favorite gift that I got was the insanity that was Donald Trump on yesterday. He is the gift that keeps on giving. But in actuality, this story is about a press release from the RNC that some people think compared Donald Trump to Jesus. Let's take a look at it. All right, so here it is. Merry Christmas to all. This is from Reince Priebus from the RNC. He says, over 2 millennia ago, a new hope was born. It sounds like the opening to Star Wars. A savior who would offer the promise of salvation to all mankind, blah, blah, blah. Just as 3 wise men did on that night, this Christmas heralds a time to celebrate the good news of a new king. You can clip there. That's good. Let's talk about that. So a lot of people took this to mean that Reince Priebus was comparing Donald Trump to Jesus, or calling Donald Trump the new king. This is, to me, I think this is more about how confusing the English language could actually be. I don't think that he was actually comparing Donald Trump to Jesus or stating that Donald Trump was the new king. However, I can see if people read that sentence and have no context to religious jargon, I can see how they can mistake that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there was some folks on the left who were kind of overreacting to seeing that. But, I mean, Jesus has been referred to as the new king for, centuries now, and maybe they just didn't understand that context.
Yeah, and I guess it speaks to the godless liberals that we are, right?
Yeah.
We're all godless liberals. So, of course, we're not going to understand if you say a new king. We think you're talking about the newly elected president. So it's really a story about the English language and lack of context. And it to me could have been a funny story, except for Sean Spicer, who is Donald Trump's incoming press secretary. You can see a picture of him on the screen. Instead of doing what a press secretary does, which is to clarify, to make things plain and explain, instead of doing that, he decided to do this on Twitter. He said, it's sad that BuzzFeed Ben, a writer for BuzzFeed, obviously, condones this attack on Christ on such a holy day for Christians. BuzzFeed must apologize. So here's the spin, and this is amazing, right? So because the left, the godless liberal left, they don't understand the context of a new king, and they wrote a story about it. If you go to BuzzFeed, you can see the story. It's basically saying some people are confused by this statement. Okay, fine. But because BuzzFeed wrote that story, Sean Spicer, instead of clarifying, or even instead of taking the sarcastic high road and saying you guys are idiots, because basically the left, they were idiots with this one, right? This is a non-story. But instead of taking that route, he decides that this is an attack on Christ vis-a-vis the war on Christmas.
Right, that's exactly it. I think it's just the latest chapter to the war on Christmas, because they feel like they've won that war now that Donald Trump's been elected president, and of course they're going to double down whenever they can. Right,
because, you could not possibly say Merry Christmas while Obama was president, even though he said Merry Christmas like ad nauseum. I'm thinking a lot of our listeners and a lot of David's listeners were tired of how often Obama said Merry Christmas, but I digress. The point is, instead of doing what a press secretary could do, should do, and instead of I would love for the opportunity to clown someone who made this dumb of a mistake, but instead of taking that road, he decides to double down with this war on Christmas and a tactic that is so familiar from Donald Trump, which is feigning as though you are the victim and then demanding someone apologizes. This, to me, is more about what the next 4 years is going to look like, right? Instead of doing the sensible, pragmatic thing, which was, hey, liberals, you guys are idiots. You didn't even know that we refer to Jesus as the new king. You're so dumb. Instead of doing that, he decides to go with, you need to apologize for this attack on Christ. It's going to be a long 4 years, man.
It's like he's the one who is overly offended and feels like he's a special snowflake and needs a safe space.
Right. I mean, you need a safe space from someone. I mean, he could have scored so many points on how uninformed liberals are with regard to religion, which they want to be. Not in all liberals. I'm a religious liberal, so I knew what they were talking about. But I also saw how that statement could be confusing. But instead of doing what a press secretary does, he did what Donald Trump does, which is to double down on stupid and try to force someone to apologize. This is going to be an amazing, and by amazing, I mean, this is a radio show, so I can't say. It's going to be a crazy 4 years.
Thanks for watching this video. Before you watch the next one, remember, we're raising money to expand the David Pakman Show Big League, as well as expand progressive activism. Go to davidpakman.com/donate. Donations of any size are much appreciated.